What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Optimus Fantasy Football Channel. We are leading up to week 1, folks. The season is about to get started, and we're here to help you with that first waiver wire run of the season. There are a lot of decisions to make, especially if you're like me here. If you've got a kicker with a league with kickers and defenses, I'm more apt to just not draft them whatsoever at all. Get to this point of the season here, where we're ramping up, we're getting ready to go. I'm going to drop a couple of guys I just don't think are going to work out. I'm going to pick up kickers and defenses. I'm going to stream them all freaking season. We're not talking about them today, but you can check out the Waiver Wire article that is live on OptimusFantasy.com right now. We have kickers and defenses to stream, plus a bunch of other players we're going to talk about. But enough with that. I'm Nate Polvogt.
I'm Evan Sather.
And we're here to talk fantasy football, guys. Waiver wires all season long. We will be here every Monday night. I know it's Tuesday. It's a little bit weird. But we are here every Monday night through the season to help you with those waiver wire runs.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is, man. This is the first show I've hosted in, man. It has been 6 months since I've been on camera because I've been building all our tools.
You really have been in the background of all of this. I mean, I've been holding down the public presence with Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan, which once again, really appreciate it, being that I definitely enjoyed representing the Optimus brand. And finally, the tools have been released on the website. I'm going to let you describe it though, Nate. You're the heart and soul behind it.
Well, it's a lot of data, folks. All of the data. We have data going back to 2006. We have EPA reports, snap analysis reports, red zone reports. You can see all this data all in one place. A lot of people go to multiple platforms, Evan. You know this. We've all done it. We tried to put everything back in one place. So go check it out. Tools.optimusfantasy.com. Right now, we've got a free trial 7 days before you actually have to pay. You cancel before that free trial. It's on us, guys. We really want you to check it out. We really, really, really want you to check out our Discord channel. If you're not in that community yet, what are you even doing with your life, guys? Lou is running such an amazingly tight ship over there. We've got start sit, we've got waiver wire, we've got betting, we've got just about everything over there. It's not just about content, though, guys. It is about the community. Thousands of fantasy fanatics sharing advice, breaking news, celebrating wins, and commiserating over those brutal bad beats we're all going to face. Whether it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., we've always got somebody in there who is talking. Check out the link in the show description, guys. It takes 30 seconds to join. It's completely free, and we can help you get through your season on that Discord channel. Again, the link is in the show description.
Alrighty, so with that all said, hope you all join after the show. Let's get into it. We are going to kick things off with the quarterbacks, and the 4 that we decided this week are Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco, Geno Smith, and Trevor Lawrence. Now, the last one is definitely the more famous of the bunch, but let's save him for last. Let's get into the first one on this list with Spencer Rattler. Now, he was a rookie last season out of South Carolina. He had to step in as the result of multiple hurt quarterbacks, the worst one being Derek Carr, that I believe it was a shoulder injury that pretty much ended his career.
Yeah,
Spencer Rattler,
retirement.
Yes, had forced Derek Carr into retirement. Spencer Rattler is stepping up ahead of Tyler Shug to kick off week 1. Now, we're not worried about beyond week 1 yet, whether or not he's going to hold the job, but it's at least worth pointing out, if you are looking for a QB2, is Spencer Rattler really worth your time against the Arizona Cardinals defense, which has been revamped to get some more former Eagles and stronger superstars? Now,
Sure.
In 2 quarterback leagues, I'm definitely looking at the other 3 compared to Spencer Rattler. Nate, give me more about what you see in this prospect. We have limited data on him from his short time. I believe it was a total of 7 games he appeared in for the Saints last season. What can you tell us about Spencer Rattler?
Well, I don't like Spencer Rattler. I'm going to be real honest. I watched him at the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago before he went into the draft. I was wildly unimpressed. I thought there were better quarterbacks there, much better quarterbacks. Obviously, Michael Penix was there. Bo Nix was there. But even I thought Sam Hartman out of Notre Dame, who was just released by the Commanders, had a better showing at the Senior Bowl. And what it came down to for me, and it still comes down to watching him at the end of last season, is he just makes a lot of stupid mental mistakes. He doesn't think through his progressions. He'll make the same mistake 2 plays in a row. And I don't want that in a quarterback. I don't believe he's going to be the starter, to be honest. However, I will say this. 1% rostership on ESPN, 6% on Sleeper. If you're looking for a guy, you've got a roster spot, you want to take a flyer on, and maybe like you've got Quinshon Judkins and you're just kind of losing hope that's ever going to happen. There are worse things you can do than get Spencer Rattler on your roster for a few weeks, let him sit on your bench, see if he does pan out. Maybe he plays really well. Maybe what we saw at the end of last season was just nerves in the NFL. Maybe he's taken some coaching. They've got Clint Kubiak there, right? They've got Kellen Moore there. Kellen Moore has been a really good offensive coach. Maybe they can do something with this kid. They seem to kind of believe in him. They're starting him over Tyler Shuck, who was their 2nd-round pick. So that says something too. I still don't believe in him. I'm going to be really honest. The only guy on this list I would not take over him is Joe Flacco. I don't see it.
I don't see it either with Flacco. Before we get into Flacco, though, I want to drop a crazy truth bomb that finished off the season, weeks 15 through 18. Would you like to guess where Spencer Rattler finished among all the other quarterbacks, ranking-wise?
Oh, I did know this. I believe he was QB like 24, wasn't it?
Close. QB 25. And would you like to guess who? Would you like to guess who he played better than to end the season in fantasy numbers?
I would assume Trevor Lawrence is one of them.
Trevor Lawrence is, well, I mean, he was hurt, so yeah.
Fair point. Was it Geno Smith? Joe Flacco? Somebody on this list?
Joe Flacco. He definitely outplayed Joe Flacco. He had more fantasy points to finish off the season in weeks 15 through 18 than CJ Stroud.
Wow.
He beat CJ Stroud by a total of about almost 3 whole points.
Yeah, but look at what Stroud had to end the season. To be fair, we know Stroud's a much better quarterback.
But I also want to say, Spencer Rattler also didn't have any weapons because he lost.
True.
He did lose Kamara for the end of the season, but he also lost Olave and Shaheed. They had to make it work with guys like Bub Means, a guy with a great name, by the way.
Great name. Well, I think with Flacco, that's where I'm coming from with Flacco too, because what does he really have? Is Jerry Jeudy really that elite of a wide receiver? I don't believe he is. I just don't think he is. He's okay. He's fine. And then you've got Cedric Tillman, David Njoku, obviously. That's an elite level tight end. But then your backfield without Quinshon Judkins is Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong and Dylan Sampson and Raheem Sanders. Are you interested in a quarterback in this system? I'm not. I'd rather start another player in my super flex position than start Joe Flacco at this point.
No, and the only player I would even entertain from the Cleveland Browns that I would start is David Njoku. Everybody else I do not want to touch. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy will do fine in PPR leagues as well. Joe Flacco will feed him plenty. But really, outside of him and Njoku, he's going to have to hope that his offensive line doesn't break down and get him sacked more than 18 times, assuming he holds the starting job for the rest of the season, because he does not have wheels. Flacco is very slow at age 40, 6'6", 245 pounds. He's very much a pocket passer, which was the norm for yesterday's NFL, where he doesn't have the wheels to get it going. Now, I get it. They don't want to throw Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders out there right now because they're too green. But they traded Kenny Pickett, so now they're going to live with Joe Flacco, who he's got a decent arm still, which is the last thing that goes with every quarterback. But Joe Flacco is not going to be anybody I'm considering in the QB2 conversation. He's a high-end QB3 as far as I'm concerned.
At best. I feel like he's still kind of like a mid QB3. I don't think he's still starting by week 8, week 10. I think this team is bad enough that you get to a point where you throw either Gabriel or Shadur Sanders out there and see what you've got in them, which is probably a terrible decision because it's the Browns and they're going to get one of them killed, but I feel like that's kind of where they're going to go. Now, Geno Smith, I think, is my favorite quarterback here, Evan.
I think I have to sadly agree, despite the fact that I would much rather pick up Trevor Lawrence, being that he's the younger, more exciting guy. Right. But Geno Smith is somebody that he stays healthy. He's only missed 2 games over the last 3 seasons. So even with a bad offensive line in Seattle, he played. Like they didn't get him hurt. He's been able to
Right.
take off and scramble when he needs to, and he's got some pretty good weapons right now. They just drafted Ashton Genty. Jacoby Myers doesn't want to be there anymore, but at least he's still being rolled out there. I like Dante Thornton as a potential rookie upside wide receiver 2 from that offense, but I'm not going to be picking him up as
No.
Geno's going to be throwing to him. But Brock Bowers is a great weapon for Geno Smith to have. The weapons with Pete Carroll leading the way, and is it Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator?
Yes.
Yeah, so they have Chip Kelly running this system as well. So I think being that Geno Smith finished as QB 13 last year, Geno Smith could finish top 15 again out of all the quarterbacks.
Oh, he 100% could. He could finish top 12. He's ridiculous. The thing is, he's ridiculously accurate, right? The guy's completing nearly 70% of his passes, 68.3 exactly, over the last 3 seasons of starting. You're putting him with a coach who gave him his chance to come back into this league and play and start. You know the kind of team Pete Carroll runs. You know this offensive line is going to be at least serviceable, so he's going to have time to throw. I think Geno Smith could honestly be a QB1 tier this year. I'm not betting a lot of money on it, but I'd put a few units on it just to see what happens. I don't think it's crazy. And then Trevor Lawrence too, right? Like, this guy should be in the conversation to be a QB1 tier guy. He's sitting here on the waiver wire, 34% on ESPN, 45% rostered on Sleeper. So a little bit higher than these other guys. Geno's sitting at 9% and 19% respectively between the two platforms. But let's talk about Trevor Lawrence, Evan, because this is kind of a make or break year for this kid. He was football Jesus coming out of Clemson. We thought he was going to light the world on fire. He got strapped with Urban Meyer and then an incompetent Doug Peterson system. Now he's got Liam Cohen, who we've seen what he did in Tampa Bay. Trevor Lawrence has to take a step forward this year, or they've got to start looking for another quarterback. Given this system, he's got Travis Hunter, he's got Brenton Strange, who we'll talk about later, he's got Brian Thomas Jr., and yet he's rostered in right around a third of leagues on ESPN. Explain it to me.
Trevor Lawrence has the talent that he showed in 2022 when he finished as the QB8. That season, he threw for 4,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He only took 27 sacks that year, too. So, Trevor Lawrence also has ball security issues similar to Kirk Cousins, where that season, which was his best, he fumbled 12 times and lost 9. So, he's got the potential to finish as a top 10 quarterback, and he's got the potential to actually do that again this year with the weapons, everybody that you just named. The running game is going to be questionable at best with Travis Etienne probably on the last decent year that he will have. He was another guy that I want to talk about at some point, but not to stray away from Trevor Lawrence. I think a lot of people are also forgetting that he only played in 10 games last year between the concussion that he picked up from a cheap shot and then the shoulder injury, which kept him out of how many games was that? Well, the shoulder injury only kept him out of 2 games, but then the concussion was what screwed him over. So, he had to miss 7 games as the result of just how badly hurt he got. I think Trevor Lawrence could easily be looking at a top 15 season again.
I do too. I think at this point, if he's available in your league, unless you are absolutely locked down, dead set at quarterback, you find a guy to drop to pick up Trevor Lawrence. I think he's my number 1 guy on this list for this week.
And let's not forget, De'Ami Brown turned out to be a favorite of Jaden Daniels from the Washington Commanders last year. Not an exciting name that you're going to be crazy to go pick up in a redraft league, but he's at least another good weapon to throw to in addition to Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. Because, Travis Hunter has the endurance to play both ways. He's a backup cornerback to start the season, but he's at least another good set of hands to throw the football to.
I feel like this has to be, he's got to get close to 4,000 yards this year. 4,500 yards in this offense.
So I
think
to
anything
know
less
something.
than that's a disappointment.
Oh yeah, but and that's the thing. I need to know something, Nate. So Trevor Lawrence has already shown that he belongs in the NFL as a starting quarterback. Why are
Sure.
people acting like that this is a make or break, put up or shut up type of season, as if Trevor Lawrence is in a position like Justin Fields?
I think it's because of the expectations coming into the league, Evan. You look at when he came in, he was expected to be this like all pro out of the gate quarterback. And while he's been good, he doesn't show, I think, the leadership that a lot of people were expecting to see out of him. He's not a take charge on the field type guy, and he doesn't seem to be the kind of quarterback that can gut out wins. We've seen him just not be able to do it so far in his career. I think that's what we need to see out of him. And that's going to translate to more fantasy points, more touchdowns, fewer interceptions, hopefully not getting hurt. He's got a good offense. And I think that's what people are looking at now. If he can't get it done in this offense, he's not going to take this team to the next level. And I think that's what it comes down to.
KJ Frederick, we see your question. Nate, do you want to take a tight end question now, or do we want to wait till we get to the tight ends?
Let's do it. I
All
love
right,
it.
let's do it.
Let's just get to it. So better tight end start based off of matchup, Evan. Ferguson against the Eagles defense, Ertz or Fanning, Cleveland rookie weapon, full PPR. I'm not going to mess with Fanning right now. That's not Fanning, it's Fannin, Harold Fannin. I'm not going to mess with Fannin right now. I want to see what his role is in that offense. I just kind of feel like he's going to get lost. I'm going to lean probably Zach Ertz. Which way are you leaning?
It's really close between Ferguson and Ertz. Like KJ just said, yes, Ferguson is going to be facing a tough Eagles defense, but they got Dak Prescott throwing the football too, and Dak loves chucking it to Jake Ferguson for easy possession first downs and red zone option too. But Zach Ertz also can get it done when you least expect it. He finished as a tight end 7 in PPR leagues last year. That's how forgotten his name has been. But I think now that I'm saying this stuff out loud, yeah, give me Zach Ertz over Ferguson to play it safe.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Ferguson guy, and I'm not a big fan of this Dallas offense either. If I can avoid it, I mostly am outside of CeeDee Lamb, and like mid-late round, George Pickens is okay too. I mean, I think he's going to see some volume. They're not going to be able to run the ball. That's the thing about this Dallas offense is they're not going to be able to run the ball. I want to throw this one up here. This goes for everybody. If we can't get to your question on the show, guys, make sure to head over to Discord, drop it in there. We are happy to answer it over there. We're there all the time. I work until like 3 a.m. and I've always got Discord up. So I might be able to answer your question in the middle of the night, or if you're in East Coast, early in the morning. So make sure you throw it in there. Evan, let's get over to running backs now. This is my favorite position group that we're going to talk about just because of the players that are available. But I want to start with the guy who was on our thumbnail, Ollie Gordon in Miami. It looks like this dude could be walking into immediate RB1 volume. How do you feel about how high everyone is on Ollie Gordon right now?
I don't, actually, because Devon Achane's calf injury, he's back at practice and he's on track to play against the Colts, so I have no reason to be picking up Ollie Gordon right now. Now, with the way the Miami Dolphins have treated their rookie running backs is that they don't throw them to the wolves right away. They also have they had Alexander Madison until he got hurt. Jalen Wright got hurt, but at the same time, they had to go out and get Jeff Wilson Jr. and JaMychal Hasty to bring on their practice squad, assuming that they're going to be bringing one of those guys up to share some change of pace carries with Ollie Gordon. Now, Ollie Gordon, it wouldn't surprise me if he's ahead of those two guys that I just named, but they're not going to be throwing him to the wolves the way that they didn't do that with Jalen Wright last year. Jalen Wright stunk, don't get me wrong, but Achane is still going to be treated as the bell cow as long as he can play. And if that's not the case, they're going to just roll a running back by committee until Ollie Gordon proves that he can handle more. So do not go don't blow your FAAB dollars on Ollie Gordon right now. We need to see a true injury to Achane that keeps him out in order to make it worth your while. So, like I said, I'm going to say this one more time. Do not blow your FAAB on Ollie Gordon right now.
What about Bashal Tutin?
That's another guy.
Bashal Tutin?
That's another guy that I have a similar view on, similar to Ollie Gordon. Bashal Tutin is third on that depth chart. He's behind Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. He's not going to be seeing any worthwhile volume until he proves that he can handle more. He's buried on that depth chart as far as I'm concerned. He's a sexy option, don't get me wrong, being that he's got a skill set that's similar to DeAndre Swift, but he's not developed the way DeAndre Swift is. And we need to see that he's improved on his ball security issues that he showed in his 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. So I'm not ready to go get a Bashal Tutin, even if you're desperate at running back. He's too far down on the depth chart to pick up right away. Do not blow your FAAB on Bashal Tutin at this time. Do not try to get your league-winning rookie running backs this early in the season. You're not going to know who it's going to be until week 7 or 8 anyway. Yeah. So do not do it.
I mean, he's nearly 40% rostered on both platforms, ESPN and on Sleeper. So he may or may not be. Look, I get it.
I shake my fist at ADP.
Well, I am of the belief that Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby are just not that good. They're not good as a tandem. They're not good as individual running backs. They're okay. They're fine. That's where it comes in for me, where I've rostered Bashal Tutin really late in drafts, just as a bench piece, not going to need him until week 6 or week 7 when buys start to hit my rosters. I can afford to wait and see if he starts to get more traction. But I'm not going to go out if I don't have him rostered and blow a bunch of FAAB on him. If I can get him for 1 to 2% of my budget, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. And I 100%, and that's with a lot of these guys too, I think. If you can get Ollie Gordon for cheap on the waiver wire, do it. You absolutely should do it, especially if you've got Devon Achane. But don't blow your budget for a lot of these guys. Kenny Gainwell, though, he's not on the list above, but we saw the depth chart come out today. Lou called it in his waiver wire article, in our waiver wire article yesterday. Kenny Gainwell's number 2 on that running back depth chart ahead of Caleb Johnson. Do you think Kenny Gainwell is worth a little bit more on the waiver wire? He's 1.2% rostered in ESPN, 2% on Sleeper.
No, I do not. Backup running backs in your common redraft leagues are usually not worth picking up. And when I say backup running backs, I'm talking about change of pace guys that see less than 30% of the snaps. And there's just not enough opportunities for them to prove that they can get out there and do more. They really, really like Jaylen Warren in Pittsburgh. They've been wanting to put him ahead of Najee Harris when Najee Harris was still a Steeler. Jaylen Warren can pretty much do a lot of explosive things. He's faster than Najee. And that's not to say Najee's slow, because he's not, but Jaylen Warren is just that much better with the limited production that he gets. He's efficient on the ground. He's a good pass catcher. He is mostly good with ball security. He's gotten better at it compared to 2023. And Jaylen Warren, I am not going to be surprised if they give him 60% or more of the snaps to start the season. Now, this is not to say that Caleb Johnson sucks, because he doesn't. It's just, I just don't believe that Pittsburgh wants to ruin him the way that a lot of other teams are trying to hold back their running backs until they show they can handle a larger NFL workload, because this ain't college anymore. They got to prove themselves. So I don't think Caleb Johnson is going to be RB3 for very long. He's going to climb that depth chart before their bye week.
I think he will too. This is where I think it gets interesting in Pittsburgh, is that we've got Arthur Smith running that offense.
Yeah. And
Arthur Smith does weird things with running backs. You never know what he's going to do, right? So we could be sitting here saying, yeah, Kenny Gainwell ain't worth it. One accident, one mistake by either one of these guys at the top of the depth chart, whether it's Jaylen Warren or Kenny Gainwell, we could all of a sudden be seeing Caleb Johnson end up with 250 carries in this offense because it's Arthur Smith. That's what makes any offense that he's a part of, it makes it just really hard to predict. Unless you've got a Derrick Henry, which then you know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to feed Derrick Henry. We've seen him do it before.
So here's the thing about Kenneth Gainwell. I don't want to just simply say he sucks because, well, he's on an NFL roster for a reason. He does have some skills that NFL teams still value. I hear exactly what you're saying about Arthur Smith, but Kenneth Gainwell has not had a double-digit fantasy football performance since 2023. Week 1 on the Eagles against the Patriots. It has been now almost 2 full years since he's done it. And that was when he was given 14 carries for 54 yards. The guy stunk, and he went almost nowhere with 4 catches. He only got 20 yards. Every time that the Eagles gave Kenneth Gainwell any sensible volume, he cannot do anything with it. He is a change of pace guy, and that's where he's going to remain. He is not worth an ad on the waiver wire, even with Arthur Smith doing weird stuff. If anything, it's going to be with Jonnu Smith. It's not going to be with Gainwell.
Yeah, God, I hope so. I love Jonnu Smith. Don't have him rostered anywhere because of this situation, but I just like the guy. I don't know why. And Arthur Smith likes to use him in weird ways. He did it when they were in Tennessee together, so who knows? Don't go roster Jonnu Smith, though, guys. It's not remotely what we're saying here. Now, Dameon Pierce is another one on this list I'm kind of iffy about because we've got Nick Chubb in Houston. We've seen Dameon Pierce try and be the guy and just really not be the guy. He couldn't supplant Devin Singletary even really in that offense. Do you think he can supplant Nick Chubb, or is this more of a, if Nick Chubb gets hurt, you should probably have Dameon Pierce just in case?
Honestly, no. I would almost rather take a blind stash on Woody Marks at this point, despite the fact that Woody Marks is a rookie who is completely unproven. And Woody Marks is third on the depth chart as well. So I don't want to go rostering Marks right away. But if you had to hold a gun to my head and say Woody Marks or Dameon Pierce, I think I'd rather go with Woody Marks at this point. But Dameon Pierce is at least going to get change of pace volume behind Nick Chubb. And I'm also concerned about Nick Chubb's value and skill set at this point, being that Nick Chubb allegedly lost some explosiveness in his game after a second freak accident to his knee, which happened exactly like what happened when he was a college player at Georgia. Yeah. What are the odds, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, I kind of feel the same. We've heard a lot out of Texans camp that he looks explosive. He looks like he could go for 1,400 yards and a couple of touchdowns or double-digit touchdowns. I just don't buy it. But I don't think I want anything to do with the Houston backfield really at all. Ogunbowale.
Ogunbowale, yeah. So Dare Ogunbowale is still on the Houston Texans, and I would not be surprised if the Texans start running the ball with Nick Chubb up the field on a scoring drive. They give it to Chubb, they give it to Pierce, and then on goal line, it's Ogunbowale, touchdown him, and that's good for like 6 fantasy points out of him, and then he's a hot waiver wire ad, and then people drop him after they find out that he's only in a special situation.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, Dameon Pierce, no thank you. I'm out on Dameon Pierce. He was decent in his rookie year in 2022 when he finished as the RB 28, but then when given the chance to prove himself in 2023, absolute dog water. Like, the guy cannot handle a full workload. He can't be efficient on the ground. He's not a good pass catcher. I'm out on Dameon Pierce. He's not the guy. Yeah. He's never going to take like a bell cow role. It wouldn't surprise me if he splits with Nick Chubb.
That's best case scenario, I think, for him. I've never liked Dameon Pierce. People were getting hyped about him after his RB 28 finish a couple of years ago. I was hosting a Dynasty show at the time for Razzball as that season was coming up, and people were getting really excited. There's a video, if you can ever find it, on the old Dynasty Diehards YouTube channel, where we just basically call them both the exact same running back, and they proved that's exactly what they are. No interest in Dameon Pierce. However, we've got Jamie, and he's going to love this. Jamie, I know you see the name up there, buddy. Roschon Johnson. This guy, I think, right now, 5.5% roster on ESPN, 12% on Sleeper. Ben Johnson likes to use 2 running backs. Who's RB2 right now? Oh, it's Roschon Johnson. And he's a talented back. He didn't get as much love in the draft because, well, he was at Texas behind Bijan Robinson and came out the same year. He's kind of held his own for 2 seasons in that offense. He's gotten light work here and there. But I think he's a 1B to DeAndre Swift, the way that Ben Johnson runs offenses. He's not going to be an RB1 or an RB2, but like a high-end RB3 that you can reliably flex a lot of weeks. I think that's kind of a fair assessment of Roschon Johnson.
I have to agree with you this time, Nate. Roschon Johnson, out of this running backs list that we have here, is the one guy that I want to target the most. If you are that desperate at running back and you need somebody to take a shot on, just in case anything happens to DeAndre Swift. Yep. Now, that being said, Ben Johnson's offense, he does not have a Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery combo where he can just beat the crap out of NFL defenses with and make them both fantasy friendly. That is not going to happen with Swift and Johnson, unfortunately. Now, I had a lot of faith in Roschon Johnson, especially at the end of his rookie season in 2023, when he started showing that he can absolutely be efficient on the ground. And he was surprisingly decent at being a pass catcher in that offense, but he served last year in that messy Bears offense as the goal line back, where he's not getting enough work anymore, being that DeAndre Swift was the guy last year. And when they needed to punch it into the end zone, that's where he shined. And that's where he was getting most of his fantasy value. And people were just hoping he'd fall in the end zone against just anybody, whether it's the Rams, the Panthers, or the Commanders. But that being said, if you have to take a shot on any of them, I think Roshan's the guy in this list.
Yeah, I think so too. We got HoovTube. Yes, Hoov. Brother, we know. 30% on the field. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you around in the chat, buddy.
Yeah, he's right too.
I know he's right. Hoov's always right. He knows. Yeah, I mean, out of this list, the only other player on this list I was hoping maybe it was possible to grab is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He's 80% rostered on both platforms. You can't get him now.
Yeah, it's wild how much hype this guy has gotten, considering that if you take a look at the unofficial depth chart today, he's number 4.
Yeah.
He's not going to get any volume right now. They got Jeremy McNichols ahead of him as the RB2. Now, this is not to say that this depth chart is what you swear by, but Jeremy McNichols, when they handed him the football last year, he was pretty good on the ground. He was efficient, and he'd fall in the end zone when they needed him to. So this comes as no surprise that they're going to have him work behind Austin Eckler to potentially be a goal line back until a guy like a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt proves that he can handle more workload against NFL starters. Now, will he get more toward the end of the season? If injuries happen, sure, but I need to see how well he does against NFL starter defenses because, sure, he was terrific against backups in the preseason, but you always want to take that with a grain of salt. He's not a guy that you have to go get. If you drafted him, Godspeed, because he's pretty much going to be dead weight on your bench.
Here's the only thing I'll say is that if Austin Eckler gets hurt, he hasn't played a full season since 2022. If he gets hurt or he misses time, I think it'll probably be Chris Rodriguez, honestly, before Ja'Cory.
Yeah. Now, the Commanders like to utilize platoon backs as far as there's no bell cow to the Commanders' offense. They're going to continue using guys that are good in certain situations, and that's exactly what they did with Brian Robinson. He was drafted to be a lead platoon guy with other change of pace guys behind him, and they brought in a past his prime Eckler to try and do some pass catching out of the backfield, which he's still pretty good at, I mean, compared to a lot of other running backs. And then Chris Rodriguez is a guy that they definitely like having pounding the ground when they can with him because he's with the opportunities that he's given, he's always efficient. It's rare he ever has a bad game. So Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I'm not ready to blow any FAAB on him at this time. Let somebody else pick him up and wait and see if he's any relevance in his rookie season.
Yeah, when we were at the Kings Classics drafts in Canton over 3 weekends ago, and there was one particular drafter in that draft who went all in on the auction side to get Ja'Cory, and I couldn't understand it, and I still don't. Even after things have broken the way they've broken, they moved Brian Robinson Jr., I still don't. In Dynasty, okay, sure, go get him. It's probably worth it long term. But in redraft, I think so many people play Dynasty sometimes that they start getting stuck on certain players. There's a couple wide receivers we'll get into that I feel like people are stuck on for that same reason, that look at players who actually could step into volume, not players who need like 5 things to happen for them to get any volume.
Yeah. And like Vince Mapstone just said, Chris Rodriguez is going to annoy so many people in fantasy this year. Do not overinvest in the Commanders' backfield. Take them with a grain of salt. Wait and see if anybody looks good. And don't count on anybody being the man out of that backfield. They are going to utilize many people out of that backfield, including Jaden Daniels. Yeah, right. And that's what the NFL has kind of come to at this point, right? It's most of these backfields are by committee. It keeps guys fresh longer. It keeps them healthier longer. They can play out their 5-year contract and ride off into the sunset. That's about all it is.
It's about all it is. Well, let's move on to wide receivers. We've got quite a group of wide receivers here. The first one I want to talk about Amari Cooper landing back in Las Vegas. How are you feeling about that in the context of everything that we just talked about with Geno Smith and Deontay Thornton, Brock Bowers? Do you think that there's a path for Cooper to be fantasy relevant in Vegas this season?
Unfortunately, no. I am not high on Amari Cooper anymore. I think he's past his prime at this point. I think when he tried to fit in with the Buffalo Bills offense, he was not reaching any chemistry whatsoever with Josh Allen. And granted that the Buffalo Bills have not really had a lot of guys that can make great chemistry with Josh Allen, but Stephon Diggs was able to do it for the time that he was there, but Amari Cooper could not. He played 14 games with the Bills, caught 44 passes on 85 targets, and only fell in the end zone 4 times. I don't like Amari Cooper anymore after 10 seasons. Guys like him are guys that I try to sell as soon as I can in Dynasty, being that they're not going to last that much longer. I don't see how he's going to do better than the younger guys that they got there between Dante Thornton, Jacoby Myers, and even Trey Tucker for that matter. And I would not be surprised if Cooper's the wide receiver 4 on that depth chart as a veteran presence to help the younger guys.
Well, he should be. Again, like you're saying, he's 31 years old. He hasn't had a productive season we're going back to 2022, really. He had 128 targets in 23, but wide receiver 20, where you were drafting him, you kind of got hosed. And I think we're at a point now with him where, yeah, he's a nice veteran addition piece. I think that Kelly and Carroll like bringing those kinds of guys into locker rooms. We saw Carroll do it in Seattle. I think that's simply what this is. Same thing with Adam Thielen going back to Carolina. I know people are getting hyped on that, but Jalen Coker, he's on IR, out at least 4 weeks, so there might be some early season relevance for Thielen. But he's 44% rostered on ESPN and 50% on Sleeper, which would tell me if you want to get this guy for a 4-week rental, you're going to have to pay up a little bit. Do you think it's worth it?
For Adam Thielen, are we talking about?
Yeah, for like a 4-week, like, hey, he might produce for 4 weeks before Coker comes back.
Adam Thielen is a guy that you definitely want to grab for the end of your bench to sell high. You better hope that you've got some guys in your league that are naive as far as why Adam Thielen was traded back to the Vikings, and then you sell him high when he has a great week. But right now, it's looking like the Vikings' weapons are getting ready to go. Justin Jefferson is okay with his hamstring. Jalen Naylor is coming back. He had a hand injury. So it looks like they're going to get some of their weapons back, and Adam Thielen could be playing out of the slot or possibly rotated outside along with Naylor and Jefferson. And then they still have TJ Hawkinson out there who's also healthy. So it's just going to depend on how comfortable JJ McCarthy is in the NFL and who he's going to rely on. And if you want to talk about a wide receiver that went as far as spending time with JJ McCarthy in the offseason, build some chemistry, that's Adam Thielen. So if you need an end of your bench guy that you're just going to sell high, yeah, that's your guy right there. And I will spoil it and say that Adam Thielen is the guy that I want the most out of this list.
He has the easiest path to some volume that'll actually be fantasy relevant on this entire list. I'm with you. Going back to Minnesota, team he's familiar with, town he's familiar with, great place to end his career. And again, I think once Jordan Addison comes back, he's dead, but that's a nice 4-week start to your season with him. These other guys, like Isaac Tesla is a guy I want to talk about real quick. Loved what we saw out of him in preseason. Love that they moved Tim Patrick to make room to keep him on the roster. However, that said, this is an offense with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Where does Tesla realistically fit into this offense?
So we want to see Isaac Tesla as the wide receiver 3 now that Tim Patrick has been moved, right? But you know who else the Detroit Lions still have on their team? Khalif Raymond. And he's got better chemistry with Jared Goff than Isaac Tesla, which is, I don't know if that's necessarily fair to say, being that Tesla is a rookie, but Khalif Raymond also loves to anger fantasy managers by getting several targets in certain games where, like, for example, Khalif Raymond in week 6 against the Cowboys last year caught 4 of 6 passes for 73 yards. And he's not a guy that anybody wants to go grab off of their waiver wire. I had to watch my language there because I know that there might be some kids watching. So, so Isaac Tesla is a guy that I could see Yeah, he's likely going to operate as the number 3 wide receiver to start the season, but wide receiver 3s in respective offenses in your typical redraft leagues are not guys that I want to go get.
Right. No.
If you have a deeper bench or if you are in a larger league, yeah, absolutely go get Isaac Tesla just in case anything happens to Jameson Williams, who I'm also not that high on, but that's another story. Isaac Tesla is not worth it, and I still would rather have Adam Thielen over him.
So what I was asked this question, how I felt about Tesla on the Football Diehards show on Sirius XM last week. This is what I said, and I'm sticking to it. If you weren't going to roster Tim Patrick, you have absolutely no business rostering Tesla. I wasn't ever going to draft Tim Patrick. There's not even as a back-end bench piece. Let's see what happens. Dude, you've got Jameson Williams. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like you're saying, Cleve Raymond, he's already got the chemistry with Jared Goff and with his team. So, nice. Again, this is another nice dynasty piece. He might pay off. He might not. In redraft, there's no way I'm going after him in waivers. One guy we've got in here, I did not put up on the graphic. Josh Reynolds, New York Jets, 1.8 rostered on ESPN, 3% on Sleeper. Do you think that maybe he could be like a sneaky flex play this season in that Jets offense with Justin Fields?
I think that's absolutely possible, especially if anything happens to poor Garrett Wilson, which we hope not. Josh Reynolds will develop some chemistry with Justin Fields, but Josh Reynolds, just because he's the number 2 on the Jets depth chart, does not mean that I am salivating to go get him on my bench on any of my teams. Josh Reynolds is a guy that likes to also anger fantasy managers by getting in the way of other guys they want to see succeed, whether that was on the LA Rams, whether that was on the Detroit Lions. And if you can believe it, he caught 13 passes as a Jacksonville Jaguar. I think we've forgotten about that by now, being that he barely played for them. Now, that being said, Josh Reynolds I'm not surprised that he's a 30-year-old veteran about to begin his 9th season with Justin Fields. It's not the quarterback situation you have to worry so much about. It's the fact that the Jets offensive scheme needs to prove that it's competent to get stuff done in the NFL. And that offensive line is looking so bad. I don't think Fields is going to have time to find Josh Reynolds down the field. He's going to have to take off running for his life again.
Yeah. Well, that's why everybody likes him in fantasy this year, because we all are going to get a guy who's running for his life. Maybe he gets another 600-700 yards on the ground in New York. I need that. I just traded for Fields in a dynasty league where my quarterbacks were Aiden O'Connell and you know what? I can't remember who the other one was because I think they actually got cut from their team.
But you had to.
I had no choice. I had to get Justin Fields. But I'm okay with it. I think he's going to be kind of fun in this offense.
Yeah.
So
Herms, good to see you, buddy.
Woo!
He says,
"What's up?
Hey, fellas, first time / long time. Just wrapped my home league draft. Mind giving me a draft grade if I share my roster? And here it is, ladies and gents. Quarterback, Hurts. Running back, Ken Walker III, Breece Hall, RJ Harvey. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle. Tight end, Brock Bowers, and the Cardinals DST. Notable bench includes Khalil Shakir, Jaden Reed, Bashal Tutin, Tank Bigsby, and Quinshawn Judkins. I don't know how many teams are in this league, but I'm guessing it's a lot, being that these rosters don't appear to be that big. But I think I think this is a C+ roster.
I'll give it a B, just a mid B grade. The only thing I don't love is your wide receiver 2 being Jalen Waddle. Other than that, I think getting Quinshawn Judkins as a bench piece is kind of smart. You never know what's going to happen once they get him signed. I mean, he has Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford to deal with. I just feel like he ends up taking all the volume once he gets signed, but he's got to get signed. So, and he says here he's got a kicker and a couple other bench guys, but they're boring. I feel that. We know how that is. I like the Shakir piece because I think he's the wide receiver 1, at least for the first probably 5-6 weeks in Buffalo. Jaden Reed's that guy that maybe he clicks with Jordan Love and takes a step forward. Maybe he's that wide receiver 2 in the slot next to Matthew Golden. All in all, I really like it, man. So I'll give you a B. just because of the Jalen Waddle, I think. And running backs are a little volatile. KW3 Hall and Harvey. The only one that really worried about is if RJ Harvey's going to see the volume we think, but what local Denver radio doesn't think so, and those guys are idiots, so they're probably wrong, and he probably will.
Yep. Sorry to give you such a harsh grade, Herms. I'm just not a fan of the roster construction. It's not that I have so much a problem with your starting talent. It's just the fact that I just don't think your depth is very good. But I'm guessing you're also in a gigantic league where you had to just take who you could get.
Well, plus he's the whisperer, man, over there at FTN. He's the whisperer. I wanted to throw this one out here just for the hell of it. Remember Malachi Corley? Funny thing, Herms, if you can send me that picture of Malachi Corley making that catch at the Senior Bowl, send it over and I'll try and post it up here.
So in case anybody does remember Malachi Corley, he is on the Cleveland Browns practice squad. The fact that he's not even good enough to crack the main roster for the Cleveland Browns just goes to show how badly he needed to develop, and the Jets just did not do that.
Right.
And I don't think he's going to have much longer of a future in the NFL. I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets cut at some point.
He probably will. What a shame. Yak King is dead. What can you do? Mm-hmm. Well, let's move on to tight ends.
Here we go.
This is my favorite position, and I don't know why. I think it's because I stream tight ends so often. I'm just like so buried in them. The first one on this list, I want you to tell me about Darren Waller. Where do you think this is heading in Miami with him?
So as the Miami Dolphins proved to us last year with Tua Tagovailoa throwing the football, he has been wanting to target tight ends for his whole career, and he just didn't get that until Jonnu Smith went to the Dolphins last year. And unfortunately, Jonnu Smith got traded to the Steelers, and that's history for Tua. Now, they went out and they got Darren Waller, being that they were not confident enough to draft at least spend enough capital on a guy like a Colston Loveland or a Tyler Warren. So they decided to go out and get Darren Waller. Now, Darren Waller is coming out of retirement. He didn't play at all last season. He looked rusty on the New York Giants as well. He finishes the tight end 22 in PPR leagues out of 12 games. I don't believe that Darren Waller will be now. I mean, it's not to say that it's impossible that he can finish as a top 15 tight end this year, but they are playing the Colts defense, and the Colts defense, yeah, they got some talent, but I don't think they have enough to stop a guy that's 6'6", 238 pounds like a Darren Waller from catching a red zone target. I think that's going to spell a little bit of trouble for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill if that offense is as ugly as it was last year. I'm not a fan of Coach Mike McDonald. I think he's doing a terrible job with the Dolphins, but that's nothing that I'm going to save that for another time. But Darren Waller is not somebody I'm drafting, but if you are looking for a veteran tight end 2 on your roster, keep an eye on him. Add him to your watch list, but don't pick him up yet.
I'm with you. I worry because you look back at his last 3 seasons, 12 games, 9 games, 11 games. Dude had a hard time staying healthy. He's got bad knees. He's got a bad stretched out hamstring. That stuff does tend to linger for the rest of your career. So we'll see. I'd be willing to put him on my bench and wait and see what happens, but I'm not going after him right now. Brenton Strange, though, over in Jacksonville, Evan, this is a guy I really like.
I like him a lot too. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, between their new GM and new head coach Liam Cohen, I forgot the name of their GM, unfortunately, but they spoke really highly of Brenton Strange. When he's on the field, he produces. It's like I said in the Waiver Wire article on our website. When he had to step up in the absence of Evan Ingram, he produces. He is a favorite target of Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones when Mac Jones had to step in. So Brenton Strange definitely makes it easier for quarterbacks in the NFL, even after just being a second-year guy out of Penn State. He didn't really do much in his rookie year. He only caught 5 of 9 passes, but he caught 40 of 53 to finish as a tight end 31 last year in 17 games. He wasn't targeted in all those games, but that just goes to show that some explosive weeks can make certain tight ends higher in PPR rankings than they're actually worth. But Brenton Strange's floor looks to be safe between 4 and 5 targets. I think that's not going to change much with the additions of Travis Hunter and De'Ami Brown.
No, and if you look at his tight end competition, they've got 2 blocking guys behind him. Guys, they're just simply, you're not going to target Hunter Long. You're not going to target Johnny Munt. It's just not going to happen. And guys, don't forget, Brenton Strange started over your beloved Tyler Warren at Penn State. So there's talent there. And I think he's in the best situation in this offense. Like you're saying, Diami Brown, Travis Hunter, you got Brian Thomas Jr. You don't have much of a running game, in my opinion. Trevor Lawrence is going to target him. And I think you're right. Safe floor of 4 to 5 targets a game. I feel the same way about Cade Otton on this list, Evan, because that's what we saw last year. Chris Godwin's not 100% healthy. I know they brought in Emeka Egbuka, so that might ding Otton just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to ding him much. Baker Mayfield trusts him, and especially trusts him in the red zone.
Yes, and he developed some really good chemistry with Baker Mayfield last year, too. When they had guys like Chris Godwin going down, they didn't have an Emeka Egbuka to step up. Their wide receiver 3, they had to get Sterling Shepard out there. That's how badly they were desperate for talent. But Sterling Shepard is also so buried on the depth chart that he's just not going to get much playing time to start things off. But it wouldn't surprise me if he gets more targets than like a Ryan Miller, whoever that is, who Sleeper has listed as the wide receiver 3. But that being said, Cade Otton has proven that he can absolutely get it done as a great set of hands when his name is called. And Chris Godwin, in case you all haven't heard, he is aiming to be back by week 5 at the earliest, but it's possible that he doesn't get back until later thanks to that ankle injury. Jason Light, the Bucs GM, said this 5 days ago. So, that being said, I like Cade Otton the best out of this list right now. I think it's a good start for somebody like a Cade Otton. Even though he had a leg injury, he practiced on Monday. He's going to be ready. And ultimately, he's going to be starting off against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons, they're not good at defending tight ends. They haven't been good at defending tight ends for at least 3 or 4 seasons. So he's going to eat them alive. They got to throw the ball to more guys than Mike Evans. So Cade Otton is definitely a name to watch. Add him to your watch list if you're already good at tight end. But if you need a second tight end, Cade Otton's my favorite on this list.
Oh, 100%. The first 4 games, Atlanta, Houston, the Jets, and then Philly. Look, Philly's got a good defense, but they could not cover tight ends last year. I was hammering their defense with streaming tight ends, like the second half of the season. If that's any indication what their defense is going to be this year, I don't think they did anything to get necessarily better at covering tight ends. Cade Otton's probably a good week 1 play for streaming them. AJ Barner. This is an interesting one. I'm a big fan of Elijah Arroyo. I feel like he might be the guy. Why are you thinking it's going to be Barner in Seattle?
AJ Barner had to step up in the absence of a Noah Fant because Noah Fant did not work out in Seattle as far as a safe blanket pass catcher. When guys were getting hurt between weeks 9 and 12 last year, they gave AJ Barner between 84 to 91% of the snaps. That's the most he got when he had to start. And against the LA Rams, he caught 4 of 7 passes. He only got 27 yards out of it, but he's a guy that they don't mind tossing the ball to if they need a short first down. AJ Barner has a really good set of hands. He was terrific at Michigan. Now, he was a rookie last year, so he's got some developing to do, and I don't like to judge tight ends until they've entered their 3rd NFL season. I mean, unless they're egregiously bad, but in AJ Barner's case, I would not be surprised if he stays ahead of Elijah Arroyo this season, too. I'm not that big on Elijah Arroyo. I mean, I've talked about this with Lou Brunson behind the scenes. Elijah Arroyo just seems to be another Noah Fant. I just don't have much faith in Arroyo yet.
I could see that. Herm's over here. Shout out Arroyo. Dude was a dog in Mobile. He was a dog in Mobile. He's a big dude. He's got great hands. But I hear it with Barner. I mean, he stepped in last year. He was serviceable. He caught 30 of 38 targets, 245 yards, and 4 touchdowns. If he gets a continuation of that volume throughout an entire season, he might be a top 12 tight end. I mean, the thing being that, like, even in PPR, what's the bar for a top 12 tight end? Like 8 or more fantasy points per game, roughly. So
a little higher than that, but yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm not.
The bar's so low.
I'm not ready to say either AJ Barner or Elijah Arroyo are going to reach top 12 status. I don't see it at all this season. I don't
Sure.
think AJ Barner is going to be doing better than tight end 25, and Arroyo is going to be close by. I don't think either are cracking the top 20 as far as tight ends go. I know there's going to be some people out there that are going to be like, well, tight ends are not plentiful enough, and I don't care about anybody below tight end 10 or wherever they want to set the bar. But when you're in 2 tight end leagues or a tight end premium league, yeah, you better care about these guys. But as far as I'm concerned, Elijah Arroyo needs to prove himself, but I'm going to keep AJ Barner ahead of him if I have to bank on a Seattle tight end.
All right. Fair enough, man. One more tight end I want to talk about before we get out of here, before we talk about the rest of the week here on the wonderful Optimus Fantasy Network. Colston Loveland. And the only reason I want to talk about him, well, if you're on ESPN, playing on ESPN, go get this kid right now. 29.8% rostered on ESPN. The sleeper crowd apparently got on this guy early. He is 89% rostered on sleeper. That's about the biggest disparity in rostership between those two platforms I have ever seen on a single player. That's just, it's wild. But again, if he's sitting there on the waiver wire on your ESPN league, I'd go get him. I think he's going to see volume pretty quickly in this offense.
I don't think he's going to see volume quickly. I think he's going to possibly build it up this season. And the reason I say that is because the Chicago Bears released their unofficial depth chart today. For those of you who don't know me as Evan Sather, Barely Fantasy on Blue Sky, yes, I am a Chicago Bears fan, so I do keep an eye on this stuff. But anyway, Colston Loveland is listed as the second tight end on the depth chart, which is not at all surprising. He's going to be developing behind Cole Kmet for a little bit until they can prove that they don't necessarily need Cole. It hurts me to say this, but it seems like they're phasing out Cole Kmet being in the final year of his contract with the Chicago Bears. The Bears, I could tell they definitely wanted to draft Ashton Genty, but couldn't get the deal done during the NFL draft to get that draft spot to get him because the Raiders wanted him. So they went and got another Ben Johnson guy, which was Colston Loveland. And I think if he fits in perfectly fine, great. He had a terrific preseason. I like the look of this young man a lot. He could definitely be the future of the tight end in this organization. But as far as the first few weeks go, he's going to be facing some tougher defenses that are pretty good at defending the tight end between Minnesota, Detroit, even the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get Overshown back right away, but Dallas and Las Vegas are going to be 2 weeks where he's going to be able to possibly break out before their week 5 bye. If you drafted Colston Loveland as your first tight end, I'm not sure I'm ready to do that. I did not go get any shares of Loveland in redraft leagues, but I really like the potential talent this guy has for the NFL level. But being that Cole Kmet is ahead of him right now, I'm not ready to go get him.
Well, I mean, obviously you're not going to get him on sleeper. Cost-wise on ESPN, he's probably going to be prohibitive at this point.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. If you've got the bench spot and you feel like spending up on him, have at it. We've got a question here in the chat. Nope, that's not the question, but Lou would like to help them if we can't. There we go. Evan, start 2 in full PPR. Debo, RJ Harvey, Calvin Ridley.
So the question I always ask in following up to this is start 2 in what? I always need more details for your format because I hate having to guess based off of vacuums. But I
vacuum.
I don't like vacuum questions because they suck. But if you're flying blind, you have to cover your eyes and you have to pick 2 of them like that. Ridley and Debo.
Yeah, I'm with you. We don't know enough about what RJ Harvey's role is going to be in the Denver offense. We think we know, but we don't actually know.
He's behind J.K. Dobbins, and I'm not ready to take a shot on him yet.
Nope, not yet. Untamed saying in the chat, if CMC drops to 10, I might have a mini heart attack before I click draft. Cross your fingers, man. Pray he stays healthy. That's all I'll say.
Before we get out of here, I got to say one more thing about a 10-team draft that I was in on Sunday night. Would you like to guess where Christian McCaffrey went in that league?
Second round.
Nope.
Late second?
Nope.
Later?
Third overall.
Third overall.
Third overall.
Woo!
It wasn't me.
I took him I had the first overall pick in my home league draft last year. I took him first overall. We see how that went. Not great, Bob. I do not have the first pick in my home league draft. We're doing it last minute, man. We're not going off until tomorrow night. Absolute last minute. But what's not last minute? That's not the right one, buddy. The Dynasty Hour, though, is on Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be Evan, me, and Lou. First Dynasty show of the offseason. We're going to be going bi-weekly with that one. So we'll do the Dynasty Hour once a month, and then we will have a short Dynasty check-in show on the other Thursday. Again, that is going to be bi-weekly through the season. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Nate and Casey show. Lou will be filling in. Casey's on a cruise. She's up in beautiful Alaska. Checking that out. And then on Friday, we've got the DFS show at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is me and Mike Reedy giving you all the plays for your weekend lineups to help you win some cash on DraftKings and FanDuel. Friday Vibe Show, 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. That is going to be me, Kevin, and Keith just vibing, talking about the weekend, answering your questions. And then on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, the Start Sit Hour with Lou Brunson and Nate Polvogt to answer all of your start sit questions. And then make sure you tune in Sunday night. We'll talk more about that show later. Kevin Tompkins and I are going to be breaking down everything that happened on Sunday to get you ready for your Monday morning. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great season, guys. This schedule will carry through with us all the way to the end. And just real quick, if you weren't aware, we are over there on Fast Draft. We have got a sweet promo code for you as DFS season starts to roll in here. You can do weekly lineups on Fast Draft. It's a quick, easy way to draft in and out in 5 minutes. With the promo code Optimus, you get up to a $50 deposit match. Head on over, check it out. You might end up drafting with one of us. We're kind of kick around there, here and there. Love drafting. It's so fast, man. I can do it while I'm like getting ready for a shower or a few minutes before bed. I just feel like kicking in one more draft, hop in there, pop through one. So yeah, guys, check that out on the promo code.
I just pulled it up on my phone now.
Woohoo, let's go.
I had to because I forgot the DFS contests are finally open, and I've been waiting to build some lineups on there.
Yeah, man. I really want to. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to drop $100 into my DK account, just kind of supplement what I had, and it's going to be rad. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to the football season, man. We're back. Evan, it has been great to get this waiver wire show going, get our season schedule rolling here on YouTube, guys. While you're here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. We are going to be live. I think we've got 10 shows every week going for you. Monday, we've got clock management with Kevin Tompkins as well. That's going to be an awesome wrap up of the week. Just talk about everything that happened over the weekend and what we need to be looking forward to heading into the week of fantasy. It's going to be a blast. Evan, any parting words for our viewers before we get out of here?
Don't tilt after week one. If you don't get the win after week one, do not start dropping guys. Do not start trading everybody away. We see it every year with all the casuals. Don't do it. This is a long game. You've got from September through the end of December, early January. You've got a lot of time. It's not over after week one. So if other people in your league want to start dropping all the talent or trying to trade everybody away, let them, look for the right offers and don't smash accept until you get the right offer.
Great advice. Well, folks, for Evan Sather, I am Nate Polvogt. This has been a production of the Optimus Fantasy Football YouTube channel. We look forward to seeing you next week on Monday. Same time, same channel. See y'all later.